all my favorite people here, just in time to start lagging. It's excellent work. How are you? Hey, glad you're here. Probably going to be pretty brief tonight, just kind of doing a little teaser for tomorrow. I'm planning on doing a full-blown episode tomorrow morning, about 9:30 Pacific time, if you can make it here for that. So Jenny and David, my favorite folks, and little Bean, I'm sure she's around, and Mojo, great to see you. And anybody else who's in, just say hi. Again, probably going to go short tonight and just explain a few things. So I think pretty much most people here are sort of hip to, what's been going on health-wise with me for the last few years, or at least know that there's been some issues. Took quite a while and finally got, as you may know, initial diagnosis. And just when and that was just around the first of the year, and just when I kind of got that worked out, then got hit with another one, and so still not quite sure on that. But I think we have some leads and at least kind of what's going on with that. So I think I've already explained it's the primary diagnosis, myalgic encephalomyelitis, which is like a subset of chronic fatigue syndrome. Doesn't mean I'm just lazy. It actually has to do, I mean, I might be, but no, it has to do with orthostatic intolerance and the fact that you're defined moaning, yeah. So again, 9:30 Pacific time. So I guess that's 11:30 for you. That's still morning-ish. But yeah, so the myalgic encephalomyelitis, again, uncertain of the root cause of it. Probably similar to what the second thing is, and we'll get into that. But having to do with orthostatic intolerance, and so for some reason the body can't recover from even small levels of exertion. It struggles to respond, and so lactic acid doesn't get off your muscles and stuff. And so ultimately we realized that the cyclical stuff I was going through, mostly cyclical vomiting, right, was the first thing, but vomiting without nausea, right? Because it was more of a response. It wasn't a nausea response. It was the body struggling. Anyway, got that kind of figured out and trying to figure out what to do with that and how that passed unexpectedly in January. And then in April, I had total, there was that. And then just like 3 days post-operative, I had a series of seizures, which have not actually stopped. I've been still having seizures, although they're smaller but more frequent. So, which has been causing problems and a lot of tremors, right? So it looks, it presents a lot like Parkinson's. Or late-stage Parkinson's, but it's not really the same mechanism, but it looks like that sometimes. And then stress is certainly causes it to be worse, right? So it responds very difficult. In fact, but some of the symptoms are that looks like we're might be lagging again. I hope not. Anyway, some of the symptoms are, again, because it's neurological, unexpected and really pretty unsettling. For example, blindness. You just stop being able to see. It just kind of, everything becomes like a gray, staticky. It doesn't resolve, and it can last up to many seconds and sometimes minutes, and possibly some people it doesn't go away at all. But for me, it has. But it'll also again can leave you with a seizure. In fact, you probably will hear it during even this presentation. And probably many times tomorrow, a little moment where I'll sort of pause. It takes me a moment to kind of recover, and it's sort of like I've been reset because the neurologic symptoms go all the way up into the brain, the cortex. And so when it frizzes out, it does it for a moment, and I have to kind of catch up. And unfortunately, that also has to do with apparently memory, right? Like laying down long-term memory is very difficult. I can sometimes not remember from moment to moment what's happening, and occasionally it's bad enough that I get right in the middle of a sentence. I'll just get distracted, and suddenly I've lost the thought completely, and it's very frustrating. But it has had a weird effect on memory, but like long-term memory, in that I can now clearly recall some things that I never could before in great detail. Right? It's just very weird. So like, for example, this week it was bad enough that the tremors had amplified such that I literally, I couldn't even walk. I've been kind of carrying around a walking stick that was gifted to me, and it's a very cool walking stick, but it's kind of awkward, and mostly I can do okay, but man, when it really kicks in, it's just like the signals get crossed, and so you just can't do it, and you try to tell your leg to go, it just doesn't go, and then often there's peripheral neuropathy, which is a numb sensation in your extremities. So, and it's not equal on the left and right side, which is again concerning because it again, has some presentations. When I first happened, they looked at me for stroke to see if I had a bleeder, but it's not that, but it's definitely in the left and the right. So weird stuff going on, and continue to pray through it, because I know that here's my sense of it, right, is that as I talk to Dad, of course, I sense, again, that he's, I'll say he's in it, and I'm not going to say he's the cause of it, but I think he'll use it for his glory, as he does. It is in our weakness that he is strongest, and it is consistent with much of the most difficult lessons that I've learned in my relationship with the Creator, right, is that some years ago, it was kind of Mom, the comforter, who very clearly told me, the reason that that all I'm trying to do, right, is to take away the parts of you that I didn't make, and the things that I didn't make, right, are your own, are of your own construction, and the only reason that it hurts is that you don't want to let go. So, you're right, David. Dad is absolutely the best. And I'm so grateful, right, for that he can still do his thing, irrespective of our failures. And so, right now, I don't know, crazy ideas. And I think that I want to, oh dear, here we go again with the lagging thing. It's just a never-ending battle. Anyway, point being that I have, during this time, had some stuff appear, and I would very much like to run them past you and get you guys to pray about it and for it, and see what you think about what Dad has in mind, or at least what I sense. Because often, again, as clear as we can be about looking and being perceptive about things around us, all of us have this blind spot that is right in the mirror, that we just cannot clearly see our own situation for whatever reason. And again, I think it's because we're meant to be in community and in relationship with people that we love and that we trust. And so we need to have that mirrored back to us. And so I will kind of lay it in your hands a little bit and go, hey, here's what I'm getting. Does this ring true with you? And so I'll drop that on you, right? Sort of like what that looks like. Well, I mean, I've kind of mentioned it and tangentially kind of mentioned it in passing. I'll go into more detail later, but essentially it's the idea, right, of taking this shaking hands thing and getting people to come together and meet somebody, right? Ideally their neighbor, somebody nearby, in a non-adversarial, non-confrontational way, where they can really listen, and rather than trying to convince them of their own views, just listening to and trying to understand what the other person's views are, and just trying to do that and trying to facilitate that by my portion would be doing what I call the busking tour, right? So BUS. King, busking, but doing that, finding an RV and making a trip around the country, doing some advanced work, and so setting it up, and so having specific places where we have permission and to set up, and getting people to show up there as well, not just to hear me because I'm not that great, but to set up some tables and stuff where people can sit down and do this, to shake hands with strangers and to get a sense that, because I think when you do this, you realize that even if you have different ideas and different ideologies about the way to make the world a better place, right? That even if you are a bad person, it's probably just they have a different perspective on things. And it doesn't even mean that either of them are mistaken, simply that your views come as a product of your experience and your information, and so those can be vastly different for people. But most people, I think, have their heart is to want to do good, but they have been so indoctrinated and so educated, and their experience is that bad things happen when you speak your mind, and you're going to get ostracized and kicked out of the group if you have differing ideas. And that's certainly the way it's been presented to us with these false dichotomies that we have now. And again, I think there are reasons for that. But anyway, this is where my heart is at. Just try to make that story short. With I'll go through the details later, probably tomorrow, on that one. But I just want to have you pray about that and go, hey, it feels like that's what I'm supposed to pursue. And I want people to pray on that and see what they get, right? That I'm not just having some manic, hey, I mean, because sure, it would be fun to go out and meet people and do the, play busking thing. That'd be great. I love that. But I want to make sure that that's the right thing to do, right? Not just some kind of vanity project on my way out trying to do something. And so there's that. And then the teaser for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to look at specifically what's going on around us. And I have to kind of point you here to, let's see, let me get this up real quick because I think this is where I want to go. Here, let me take a look. Certainly there's a lot of stuff happening around us in the world, and they are ratcheting up everything to make things seem scary. They do the fear porn thing, right? But I think that it all does lead to a certain place. And we're going to take a look at not only the things that are going on, but where it looks like to me that's lining up with Scripture, right? So by beholding you become changed, it's a very difficult thing here. But a lot of people say, hey, don't look at it, right? Because it's going to make you disappointed and upset and all that sort of stuff. And yes, if you constantly look at it, you are going to be turned into whatever you look at. You certainly don't want to focus on always dark things because, it will darken your day for sure. So from my perspective, again, focusing on Dad always tries to, gives me the opportunity to hopefully become more like him, but I do have to look around, and here's why. Ezekiel 33, if you're not familiar with it, it reads thusly. The word of the Lord came to me. This is Ezekiel. It said, Son of man, speak to your people and tell them, suppose I bring the sword against the land, violence or war. And the people of that land choose a man from among them, appointing him as their watchman. And he sees a sword coming against that land and blows the ram's horn to warn the people. All right, so he does his job. If anybody hears the sound of the horn but fails to heed the warning, right, if he heeded the warning, he would have saved his life. Fair enough. All right, but if the be taken away in his iniquity, but looks like we got a little pause. I'll have to wait. Mm-hmm. Okay, but if the watchman sees the sword coming and fails, accountable for his blood, right? And I understand that nobody voted me into this position, but it does say, as for you, O Son of Man, I have made you a watchman. So hear the word from my mouth and give them warning from me. And if I say to the wicked, O wicked man, you'll surely die, but you don't speak out to dissuade him from his way, then that wicked man will die in his iniquity, but I will hold you accountable for his blood. I'm not willing to take that risk, right? So what I am saying is, and the message that I have, right, isn't even so much for the wicked to repent, right? Not like Jonah going to Nineveh and saying, hey, you're about to get whacked. No, actually, I think the message is for God's people to say, be warned, right? Be ready that this is, again, always when I get to the good part, we get a lag. Always when I get to the meat of it, there's a lag. But we'll go to here, right? So again, I always bring this up, Matthew 24, where Jesus discusses what's coming in the last days. They will deliver you over to be persecuted and killed, and you will be hated by all nations because of my name. That doesn't sound like pre-trib rapture to me, right? It really doesn't. And there's too many places that I see between the Gospels and the writings of Paul and Peter, and especially the Revelator John, in the book of Revelation that clearly indicates that there there's going to be an enormous number of martyrs, and if you're not prepared for that, it will be very discouraging, indeed, and many will lose their way. And it appears to me, right, that we are woefully unprepared for what is coming. And I'm not trying to scare anybody or be doom and gloom, right? I'm just telling you what I see coming. You can choose to do with it what you will, but it does appear to me that we are on the verge of an unprecedented time. And again, what Jesus said about it, that if it weren't, it'll be a time of trouble such that the world has never seen it before, and if it weren't cut short, nobody would survive. That sounds pretty ugly, right? But the one who perseveres to the end will be saved, right? And that's my encouragement to you. So that's what we're going to get into. So tomorrow I'm going to go through as much as I can about why I read it that way and what best I can tell you about how to prepare. Again, I will always say, don't take my word for it. Right, study it out yourself. Pray over it. But it does. I will give you, the way I see it. It is of no benefit to me to say that. I know that everybody will probably not like what I have to say. So it's not. Because it's not rainbows and unicorns and butterflies and set yourself free, right? Neither is it give up, right? because not everyone is intended to go that way. It does appear that there are a great number who, at that specific time, when the number of the martyrs is full, right, at that time, it does appear that the rest are given the wings of a great eagle and taken away into the wilderness, away from the wrath of the dragon until the return. So, again, and, hey, maybe I'm wrong, and that would be super great, right? That would be awesome. But maybe not. And so, but if I don't share it, right, then I'm on the hook for what I know. So to that end, I feel a responsibility to share what I think I see. And I've been kind of hinting about it for a while, but it is, clinging like a bell in my head that almost every day I bump into these things and go, it looks like that's where we're going. It looks like it's heading there fast. With what we see developments now, it seems that everybody is spoiling for this, and they have been planning it for quite some time. Just today I bumped into some old footage. I say old, but, debate kind of between two U.S. candidates for president back in the day, and one of them being Biden. And he very specifically named out, Russia, Iran, and China as his targets. And again, when they tell you who they are, you better listen. And so those are our primary adversaries now, and it does look like they're ready to start the fire. Yeah, a couple of butterflies. Yeah, I think there's some butterflies and certainly rainbows at the end. But it's going to be a difficult journey until then. And I just want to prepare people for it and go, now's the time to fill up that extra jug of oil because you'll need it. And I think that's what I see coming. So we'll talk all about that tomorrow. Again, I hope not to be a bummer. I hope I don't scare you away before we get there. But I think it's good information. And again, at that point, you can choose to do as you will with it. I'm just telling you what I think I see. And maybe I'm blind. Maybe I'm spiritually retarded. We don't know. We'll find out. But in the interim, that's what I have for you. So I hope you guys have a great evening. I told Mama I would keep this fairly short. But yeah, we'll go with it like that. And I just kind of want to do a teaser, say, hey, I'll be back in the morning, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday, the 28th of October, and we'll discuss what's upcoming, including, Samael and, the Halloween and what that all is and what we see going on around us. And we'll do the whole thing. So it does look like, trimming the wicks, you bet. So let's go. We'll kick this thing off and spark the fires on this thing and get it going. And, I think it'll be good, right? At the end of the day, we have a creator who loves us, who is in control of everything. Nothing is outside his hands. So, hey, everything's good, right? Right on. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you again tomorrow, hopefully. Take care.